All right, hey there. So this is a quick introduction to Talk2Form, an evolution on the original Witch Doctor project, designed to assist doctors with building forms and autofilling it based on natural language conversations they have with their patients. This is an evolution of that to make it simple for any industry that requires human interaction to basically streamline data entry, basically recording and converting conversations into autofilled forms using AI language prompts. So this is going to be a quick demonstration on how this works for everyone interested. So currently the UI on this site is a little sparse. It's not great. It's purely a demonstration for now. Everything can work on a back end. So we can, for example, start by creating a new account. Currently there's no email verification process, so you can do whatever you wish. All right, it automatically logs you in. Now we are able to view our dashboard here, which is basically a place that holds all of your form templates, basically similar to Google Forms. It is a way to store basically the forms that you want to fill responses into. So we're going to create a new form here. And we're going to call this form let's start with the medical example. So medical form, medical intake form. So we're going to add a question. So now these questions are going to be what allows you to basically autofill based on a conversation. So you want to format these questions in ideally the form of whatever you want your output to be in. So for example, you can format these in a lot of different ways. So for example, you can go something like chief complaint. That would work. You can also format it in a natural language question like, what is the patient's chief complaint? And this will also work similarly. There's many different ways you can format this, but we're just going to stick with chief complaint for now. Then we're going to add on a new question called, let's start with something that asks it, something that has to calculate something. So let's start with something like, how long has the patient been experiencing issues? Or let's say, time of duration of symptoms. So this is something you might see in a form, for example, rather than a natural language question. And then let's add a final one. So currently, the system is only set up to take 3 questions at once. This can easily expand in the future. But right now, we're just sticking with 3 due to the limitation of the API access that we have. So we're going to change this one to something a little interesting. So we're going to ask it to take the information that we're going to give it in our conversation and create I guess a analysis of it itself. So the point of this form system is that it's able to not only autofill forms for you based on the form you put in, but it's also able to do the same kinds of data analysis as someone that given a conversation, will be able to make on that same information. So for example, in a medical case here, let's ask it if it can come up with possible possible causes of the symptoms the user is complaining about. So possible causes of symptoms. So now it's the power of this is that it's not only able to autofill forms, but it's also able to come up with intelligent analyses and autofill that into your form for you to make your job a little easier. You don't have to manually type this in. You don't have to manually come to these conclusions yourself. It can take all this information and do it automatically for you. So let's start with a demo. So let's hit record. This UI is currently a debug thing, so you can ignore it for now. We're just gonna hit start recording. Hi there, doctor. My name is Kyle, and I think my left leg seems to be bruising a lot, and I'm not exactly sure why. It's sort of like itchy, and it kind of hurts when I touch it. And it's like it's kind of just really annoying because I can't really walk that well, or wear any long pants. So, yes, have you by any chance done anything recently that you can tell me about that maybe like something that has been a cause of this? Well, I think I did go hiking one day, a few days ago. I was out with my family. We were just hiking, uh, and I'm not sure. Maybe that could be something. I didn't fall or anything, but we were in some pretty thick brush. So like in a forest, we were off the trail and just camping. Um, so maybe that could have something to do with it. Okay, interesting. Do you have any family history of any symptoms of any kinds? Well, no, not really. I think that my family has been pretty clean. My dad had cancer, but I'm sure that has nothing to do with this. Um, okay, good to know. Good to know. In any case, have you been drinking water? Your vital signs here show that you've been your checkup from a few months ago show you're stable, normal. Yeah. Do you have any underlying other things you want to share with me? Well, I'm not sure. I think I mean excuse me. So my apologies. Do you happen to know when these symptoms started happening? I'm not exactly sure. So maybe somewhere between 3, maybe 4 days ago. I went hiking on the last Sunday, about 5 days ago, but it didn't start happening until after that, like a day or two after. So I'm not really sure. All right, thank you. All right, so now we can stop recording, and it's going to take that conversation that we just had, well, with ourselves and basically analyze it and feed us that back information. So currently, the system is set up so that it is just dumping out pure text, but what we can do later on is basically reformat this. So basically, you can have instead of duration of symptoms being an entire paragraph, it can be a definitive just number or a range, or you can find a type of output that you want. So ideally, this would be something like just a numerical number, a quick summary of this, or a true or false. Think of something like that, or an age, or a etc. So, as we can see here, based on we didn't mention any of this in Scratch. We never said that the symptoms started happening somewhere between 3 or 4 days ago. That wasn't said. All it did was it took the ratio of symptoms and it autofilled it into based on a conversation we had that it started happening 3 to 4 days ago. That's the duration of symptoms that we asked it for. Now we also look at the chief complaint that we added, which is that the left leg is bruising, itching, and in pain. So that's something that's summarized based on our information, all the context. We never mentioned the word chief complaint. It is able to intelligently interpret what chief complaint is based on what it's seen and come up with that our left leg is bruising, itching, and in pain. And finally, our possible cause of symptoms. This is the interesting one here. It's able to take the concepts that we're talking about and come up with a possible symptom. So it states that our possible cause of symptoms could be due to an injury or trauma during a hiking trip, an allergic reaction, or underlying medical condition. So this one isn't doing too much here, as we can add more detailed prompts to prompt it for possibly a more definitive answer. And the conversation prompt we gave it isn't really that great. But if given a real case scenario, this is actually fairly accurate in determining things like possibly, let's say, like that could have been from poison ivy. It could have possibly been due to some underlying medical cause, given more context to our conversation. So as you can see, so we basically create a form. There's currently no way of reviewing the forms, as if you click this again, it's just going to give you a record function again to record another form iteration of this template. But we'll be adding that feature soon. A few other limitations of the software as we have it currently are that we are only able to support, as I mentioned, 3 questions at once. that there is currently no way of viewing, as we mentioned, your previous forms. There is also a few limitations. If we click on these config settings, we can actually edit the details of what's being fed into our AI. So interestingly enough, we are able to support multiple languages. So not only in English, we can also support Mandarin Chinese, Hindi, many other languages. Currently, these are free that we have set up and tested. But we are able to also change here the conversation type. So this allows us to essentially change what's the voice to text, as we're basically turning our voice into text that our AI can understand. This is able to, if you're running into issues with the transcription, modify this so it is better. And we're also able to change our audio recognition model. This is a limitation. We currently only have OpenAI's Whisper. And we can change our system prompt here as well as the AI model. Currently, as you can see, this is the AI model we set up for medical, being a medical assistant. Let's, for example, give it another trial, such as, let's think of another industry. So let's say something like real estate introduction. So let's add a few more questions. So we can add a basic one that can pull out information like general overview of the pay. Let's say the clients housing requirements. So this is going to give us a general brief overview, like a summary of what the client's requirements are. So let's change this to a discussion between a real estate agent and a client on on real estate purchase. So we're going to change this. You are for a real estate agent processing clients. Your goal is to help process conversation and fill out program. So your consists of a conversation between a real estate agent and a client. So this UI will be heavily modified. It's currently very not refined. So I'm going to keep on some of this concepts, keep some of this concepts, and some of this concepts, keep some of this concepts. Okay, perfect. I'm going to keep all the other settings. We're going to save it. It's saved. All right. Now let's add a few more questions. So let's ask it something like, let's say, what is something the user client is very adamant about? So this is something you'll have to interpret from the conversation. So think of like note-taking wise, this is able to pick up something maybe you aren't able to pick out. And let's try to ask you something that's a little more interpretive. So let's ask it something about the client sentiment, perhaps. I'm not sure if this will exactly work. We'll test it. So what is the client's sentiment? So as you can see, I formatted this one as a question instead of as a form statement like this. So I'm just testing a few different options here. Hi, yeah, so I'm interested in buying a new house. I'm actually not too sure about what the market state is, so I came over to you. Oh, great, great. So, can you tell me more about what you're looking for? Tell me more about yourself. What's your family like, etc. Well, I mean, I currently live with my wife and our pet dog, so we're looking for something that's not too large. Maybe a two-bedroom, as we're looking to maybe start a family in the future. We don't really care too much about garage. We kind of want something near the city center, maybe in Metro Atlanta, for example, somewhere close to a subway station, perhaps something that is able to let us like commute easily. I work a lot abroad, like in different cities. So ideally I want to be somewhere near the airport. If you can give me a suggestion like that. And I mean, I'm not sure what else you need. Well, could you give me any information based on what kind of budget you're looking at? Is there any specific styles of homes you're looking at? Well, I'm not too picky on my style of home. I'm just really excited to finally see that we're able to like get a place for ourselves after all this time. I'm not really sure. I think our budget is somewhere around $500,000 plus or minus 50,000. We ideally just want a place that we can call our own. We're excited to get down and start a family, you know. Yes, of course, of course. It's always an exciting time purchasing your own first home. So tell me, is there anything you would like to look at? Any areas specifically? Not necessarily. I think it'd be pretty important to again be by the airport. Uh, I don't want to have to deal with like traveling like an hour to get to the airport. Or I kind of would also like to be maybe near the airport shuttle, if that makes sense. I think that would be a major breaking point for me, like just having to take ages to get to the airport for work. My wife doesn't have too many requirements. She just wants a nice lawn and all that kind of thing, just so she can and enough space to host some friends and guests. All right. So let's see what we get off that. So again, these conversations can be a lot longer. Another limitation I forgot to mention is that currently our recordings are limited to around 20 minutes, plus or minus a few minutes, as that can be easily expanded in the future, but currently it's a limitation to how we are processing the size of these files and audio and the context length of what we're feeding to the AI. So as you can see here, we are looking at the first thing here. So what is something a client is very adamant about? So the client is very adamant about being near the airport and having easy access to commute to the airport. So it was able to pick up that through constant emphasis out of all of the other topics we talked about. I never mentioned the word adamant. It was able to interpret that something that was very important to me, a breaking point, was that I needed to be easy to commute to the airport. It needed to be easy for me to commute. Now, the client sentiment, I wasn't able to really pick out the sentiment. I was nudging a little bit towards excitement, but I think this is something that could be improved with the question or the prompting. We'll probably separate out the prompting from the actual question that's displayed to make it a little easier. And now we can see a general overview. So this is an example of how good this is at just taking notes for a user. So this can probably have been split out into individual notes. Like, for example, if we had asked some more question, we could have gone size of house, location of home, budget, etc. It wouldn't have split up. But right now, because we didn't have it split up, it's just lumping everything up into one big general overview. So it's looking for a two-bedroom house. That's what we mentioned. Was a house near city center, preferably Metro Atlanta, close to subway station, easy commuting. Easy picks that up. These aren't things that we specifically said or noted down in bullet points. One house near for the airport. Yeah, see, and also notice how most of these were said in one big lump. So this was all said in one big lump. However, also picked up that these were also important parts, that the budget was around this time. And near the end of my conversation, I also said that no specific style of home was preferred, and my wife wanted a nice lawn and enough space to host guests. So it was able to interpret that these were the overall client housing requirements. So yeah, this is just a quick little intro to what this is possible, what this is capable of. In the future, the goals are for this to be able to link to external databases, be able to automatically just process a user's questions, feed that into a database, and basically just have click the record button on forms that they've already designed or just scanned physical forms, and basically just have this all automatically upload information to the patient's database, their a salesperson's CRM, a restaurant's ordering system, etc., etc., just to make and keep like a human interface while being able to still use AI, not just because people hate using speaking directly to AI or machines, that uncanny valley you expect. People still want that human touch and connection. So this is just a way to accelerate this for service workers and client facing people. All right, thank you.